Hey, yo, good morning. Today is Thursday, April 30th, 2020. And if you saw the last few videos, by now you get the theme. These are daily horoscope readings for each of the signs, and then I'm going to break down in my own interpretation what I think that horoscope is trying to tell you to do or promote for you to do for that day. And again, every video disclaimer, I'm not an expert on astrology. I'm just someone who gets my daily horoscopes and I read them. And sometimes as I read these daily horoscopes, sometimes I'm like, well, damn, this seems very general, or what would this actually look like in practice? So that's kind of what my goal is here, is to maybe provide insight or provide a little bit more motivation or inspiration into what you could possibly do as an example of what I believe the daily horoscope is telling you to do. This channel is only for people who are into astrology or into their signs, even if it's just for the purpose of figuring who they're compatible with in relationships. Because, I'm a Libra, and I read my horoscope very, very often. And I'm always comparing ways, especially in relationships, that Libras are like other signs and how they might be different. So that's kind of what inspired this channel. This is a lot of work for me to do 12 videos every day just on horoscopes, but I'm kind of passionate about it. We're in lockdown. I got nothing better to do. I hope you all enjoy it because a lot goes into this. It's nothing crazy in depth, but just the volume of having to do this, or at least planning to do it every day, is quite it's a lofty goal for me. But if you all like it and you all appreciate it and give me good feedback, I will 100% continue to do it. So, Thursday, April 30th, horoscope. The next sign is Gemini. The horoscope reads as such. Instead of bragging about your accomplishments, let your work speak for itself now. If you're interviewing for a job, list your achievements in order of their importance and be prepared to discuss them. Be calm, direct, and honest. Be calm, direct, and honest. When describing things that you have done, prizes you have won, and goals you've reached, your matter-of-fact attitude will make a good impression. Later this evening, you'll welcome a chance to unplug from screens and float away on a cloud of daydreams. Drifting off to sleep will feel magical. So the majority of this daily horoscope for Gemini reads a lot like the one for Aries for today reads, right? Bragging about, overly qualifying what your qualifications or talents or attributes are. It doesn't help many people, right? As a matter of fact, it could do more harm than good. A lot of times it will cause resentment. And especially in the case of Gemini for today, talking about seeking work or employment, and interviewing and things like that. Unfortunately, in an interview type of setup, you're kind of supposed to brag about what makes you qualify for this job, right? Like, tell me what you bring to the table. But what this is saying here is do that, but do it very carefully, because keep in mind that the interviewer is looking to see not just what you're saying you can bring to the table, but what examples can you provide to prove that. And I think the mistake that a lot of us make when we are looking for jobs, I do it, we all do it, right? You fluff up your resume, you put a few extra things on the application. You may have some friends in high positions, co-workers that you've worked for, provide references for you. But when you sit down in front of that interviewer, now you got to back up what you're saying, right? So if your resume reads, you did such and such, and now you're in that interview explaining how you can do such and such, well, you also have to provide corresponding examples of why that is true, what you're saying you're able to do. So that's pretty much what that's saying there. And, the importance of discussing what your achievements are, where it says be calm and be direct. This is more of like I guess a hood mentality or a street mentality, or like a book smart versus street smart kind of idealism. But the term comes to mind of like a person who is calm in their demeanor, and a person who is not, on like Front Street, like, but just speaks and presents themselves in a calm manner, that's the person you take more serious, right? The person jumping up and down across the street, or the person, running through the whole school. We all remember when we were in middle school or elementary school, the person running through the hallways screaming about the fight. That's not the person that really wants to fight, right? That's the person that wants the teacher to get involved. That's the person that wants the principal to hear what's going on and come run out and be like, yo, what's going on? Like, knock this off. So it applies the same in this type of situation, right? The more you promote yourself without any substance, the more you promote yourself in an overexcited way, the less likely people are going to believe what you have to say. But when you were poised, when you were calm and direct, and you're not using things to overly amplify what you provide or can potentially provide, when you do that, people are less likely to believe that you're actually about what you're saying. So be calm and be direct in your approach. Definitely don't shy away from what your accomplishments are, but also don't over exaggerate what they are also. And that is what's going to make the best impression 100%, right? Because a person can see that you're confident in what you may over promote, but when it comes down to the meat and potatoes, the actual, crux of the situation or of what you're saying, when you are calmly matter of fact about it, and your examples are matter of fact, and they can clearly be, researched and be proven to be right, fact checked, so to speak, that's when you're at your best opportunity there to come out of that situation in a favorable way. And then, at the end of all of that, at the end of your day, when it's time to wind down, you welcome the chance to unplug from screens and float away on a cloud. Basically, I think what that's saying is, for Gemini, find a way, not just today, but every day. And it's very hard to do it these days. And I would actually encourage everybody to do it. Find some time in your day, even if it's just an hour, even if it's just 30 minutes, to put the phone down, to get away from the computer, to get away from social media, and allow your brain to process through some of the junk that we download on a daily basis. Get away from that and just go back to the time when we let our minds wander, and we let our minds, provide images and things that may seem impossible. Get back to that, because when your brain can get back to focusing on that without having the lights of a screen constantly in your face, it allows your brain to recycle. It allows your brain to recharge. It allows your creative juices to flow a lot better, I believe. And I think the most creative people understand that, right? The people who create for a living, authors, musicians, songwriters, screenplay writers, people who create, people who are artsy, right? Artistic. I think they would understand and would agree that you need to step away from the matrix sometimes, unplug from it, because the world that exists within you, the world that exists emotionally and spiritually, that connection, that higher plane that we all have the ability to tap into, can be as rewarding, if not more rewarding, than the social media world that's been created for us to live in a virtual world. Get back to the real world by unplugging from the virtual world and tapping a little bit into the mental and the spiritual and the emotional world that exists within all of us. So that's my take on Gemini. I wish you all love, peace, and wealth, and overall health. And I hope you all come out of this whole situation that we're in right now better people than you were when you went into it. I know that that's my goal. This is astrology from a Libra's perspective. Let me know what y'all think about this one, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace and love.